Hello everyone. Today we're doing Surah Baqarah, section 17, verses 142 to 147. This is section 17, Surah Baqarah. So let us begin. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Verse 142. The fools among the peoples will say, What hath turned them from the Qibla, to which they were used to? Say, to God belong both east and west. He guideth whom he will to a way that is straight. So the Qibla is direction of prayer. The Qibla is the Kaaba in Mecca, which Prophet Abraham and his son built. So that is the Qibla, that is the direction of prayer that the Muslims, Prophet Muhammad at the time, he changed the direction from Masjid al-Aqsa to the Kaaba in Mecca. So at that point in time, the Jews and Christians and people who did not want to believe in this last testament, they would mock the Prophet, they'd mock the Muslims, Prophet Muhammad, they'd mock him, they'd mock the Muslims, for they wanted to live their lives as they wished. They did not want to follow a religion. And so when Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to Medina for about 17 months, they prayed towards the direction of Masjid al-Aqsa. But while Prophet Muhammad was in prayer, God sent him this message. While he was in prayer, God sent him this message while he was in prayer, saying to Prophet Muhammad, tell them that east and west all belongs to God. So no matter which direction you pray, God is all over. All belongs to God. And this message that came to Prophet Muhammad, telling him to pray facing Masjid al-Aqsa, formerly prayed facing Masjid al-Aqsa. So what happened was that God sent Gabriel, the Prophet Gabriel, with a message to Prophet Muhammad, telling him he must change his direction of prayer facing the Kaaba. So that is verse 142. So we'll go on to verse 143. Thus have we made of you an ummat. Ummat meaning a people. Thus have we made of you an ummat, justly balanced, that he might be witness over the nations, and the apostle a witness over yourselves. And we appointed the Qibla to which thou wast used, only to test those who followed the apostle from those who turn on the heels from the faith. Indeed, it was a change, momentous, except to those guided by God. And never would God make your faith of no effect, for God is to all people most surely full of kindness, most merciful. So that was verse 143. So let's see, I've just made a couple of notes. God has put the Prophet Muhammad and his followers through huge tests already. The non-believers mocking them for changing the direction of prayer from Jerusalem to Mecca. So God is assuring the ones with faith that God will not make their faith of no effect, for God is full of kindness, most merciful. So that is verse 143. Let's go to verse 144. Verse 144. We see the turning of thy face for guidance to the heavens. Now shall we turn thee to a Qibla that shall please thee. Turn then thy face in the direction of the sacred mosque. Wherever ye are, turn your faces in that direction. The people of the book know well that that is the truth from the Lord, nor is God unmindful of what they do. So God is saying, we saw you turning your faces towards the sky. Now you will turn your faces towards Mecca, which is the Kaaba. And the Kaaba, we know that Prophet Abraham and his son built the Kaaba. And many might say, but why do God command that we turn our faces towards Mecca? Surely God is everywhere. Yes, they're right, God is everywhere. But what God has done is God has chosen a center point for everybody to face when in prayer. I mean, when I was a little boy growing up, I was about 9, 10 years old. I had many Christian friends. Our neighbors were Christian, and we all interacted with each other like, not like you were Muslim, you were Christian, or whatever the case may be. We interacted with each other like friends, like family. And I remember I went to church with him one Sunday morning. And when you're in the church, you will see that the benches, the priest is in front, and the benches is all facing one direction. They're all facing to the front, towards where the priest is. You don't have a bench facing that way, a bench facing that way, and a bench facing that way. You don't have benches facing all over. The same when you're in the mosque. When you're in the mosque, the priest is in front, and you have your lines, all straight, all facing one direction. So this is uniformity. So this is what God is speaking about. This is uniformity, all facing in one direction. In fact, when I was younger, before the time of my beard, I was into music, and I remember there was either a band or a song called One Direction. Yeah. So that is verse 144. Verse 144. So we're going to verse 145. Verse 145. Even thou wert to bring to the people of the book all the signs together, they would not follow thy Qibla, nor art thou going to follow their Qibla. Nor indeed will they follow each other's Qibla. If thou after the knowledge hath reached thee, were to follow their vain desires, then wert thou indeed clearly in the wrong. That is verse 145. So God is saying here, we have seen Prophet Muhammad turn his face towards the heavens. God says now you will turn your face towards the Qibla of Masjidul Haram, which is the Qibla which is in Mecca. God says the Jews and the Christians were given the scripture and know full well they must turn their faces towards the direction of the Kaaba, Mecca. And this is the truth from the Lord. And God is not unmindful of what you do. So that's verses 145. Let's go to verse 146. Verse 146. The people of the book know this as they know their own sons, but some of them conceal the truth which they themselves know. That's verse 146. So God is saying, God is speaking about the Christians and the Jews in the Torah and the Injil, which is the Bible. Prophet Muhammad's name is mentioned, and the Jews and the Christian scholars know this. They also know the Kaaba was built by Abraham, and Jerusalem has been built by Solomon. Now Jerusalem has been built by Solomon. Jerusalem has been built by Solomon. This was about 1300 years later than when the Kaaba was built by Abraham. So obviously, when Abraham built the Kaaba, at that point in time, God has built it and said to Abraham that Muslims will come from all over, people will come from all over the world, because he built it in the middle of the desert. And in his mind he was thinking, but why is God asking me to build this here? Not knowing that Muslims will be coming from all over the world to come to Mecca for Hajj, for Umrah, to visit the place, to visit the holy site that God has asked Prophet Abraham to build. So God says, I know and you know not. So this that I'm saying to you now is that Prophet Abraham built the Kaaba, Prophet Solomon built Jerusalem 1300 years later. You can look it up. It's a historical fact. You can look it up. So that was verses 146. We will go to a verse 147. So when you read this last testament, every time you read it, you will find that there's certain points where God will say to you, God challenges you to just yourself make one surah, one little story, and match it, and try and match it to the Holy Quran. And God says, you cannot. For that we know, more than 1400 years ago, we know that the truth has come. The truth has come. The Holy Quran is so perfect. There is no flaws, there's no fault in it. There's no flaws, no fault in it. We need nothing else in our lifetime to come to us to tell us that it is the truth. We know this from the time God has sent it to Prophet Muhammad, from the time God has made Prophet Muhammad a prophet. From that time, we know already this is the truth. And this is how your belief and your love must be for Prophet Muhammad, that you need nothing else to come to you and say to you, see, this is the truth. The truth was said to us more than 1400 years ago. So we go now to 147. Verse 147, Surah Baqarah, section 17. The truth is from thy Lord, so be not at all in doubt. God is saying the truth is from God, so do not be in a constant wrangling, like saying that this is not the truth, when both the Christians and the Jews know full well this last testament is the truth from God. It's only pride and arrogance that will keep a people away from the truth. So this last testament has come, and this is the truth from God. And the reason I share this with you is because I want everybody to know what is written in this last testament. And I cannot put it into your heart. It's like taking the horse to the water, but you cannot make the horse drink that water. So I am spreading this message, but I cannot make you accept it. That is between you and God. Only God can make you accept it. Thank you for watching. And why am I doing this? Because I love you. Bye-bye.